Ladies and gentlemen, all stand and remain standing until the conclusion of the reading of the proclamation. Ladies and gentlemen, the proclamation. All persons having any business before this honorable court, please draw nigh. Give your attendance, and you shall be heard. God save the Queen.
Admission of lawyers. Kura Tulan, actor.
May it please the court, I move that Kura Tulan actor be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Kura Tulan actor be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Isabel Mary Joan Alder.
May it please the court, I move that Isabel Mary Joan Alder be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Isabel Mary Joan Alder be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Lauren Marie Ang Si Sing.
May it please the court, I move that Lauren Marie Ang Si Sing be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Lauren Marie Ang Si Sing be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Lachlan Robert Blake.
May it please the court, I move that Lachlan Robert Blake be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Lachlan Robert Blake be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Jacob Edward Stig Karlberg.
May it please the court, I move that Jacob Edward Stig Karlberg be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Jacob Edward Stig Karlberg be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Xiaoman Chen.
May it please the court, I move that Xiaoman Chen be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Xiaoman Chen be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Yema Chosum.
May it please the court, I move that Yama Chosum be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Yama Chosum be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Fiona Gillian Chewy.
May it please the court, I move that Fiona Gillian Chewy be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Fiona Gillian Chewy be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Samantha Marcia Cobcroft.
May it please the court, I move that Samantha Marcia Cobcroft be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Samantha Marcia Cobcroft be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Avinash Devanathan.
May it please the court, I move that Avinash Devanathan be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Avinash Devanathan be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Amelia Discaris.
May it please the court, I move that Amelia Discoris be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Amelia Discoris be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Isha Farouk.
May it please the court, I move that Isha Farouk be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Isha Farouk be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Jin Wen Fang.
May it please the court, I move that Jin Wen Feng be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Jin Wen Fang be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Meredith Erica Jane Fitzgerald.
May it please the court, I move that Meredith Erica Jane Fitzgerald be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Meredith Erica Jane Fitzgerald be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Olivia Forsyth Sells.
May it please the court, I move that Olivia Forsyth Sells be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Olivia Forsyth Sells be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Holly Rose Grant.
May it please the court, I move that Holly Rose Grant be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Holly Rose Grant be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Gaia Kaklik.
May it please the court, I move that Gaia Kaklik be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Gaia Kaklik be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Vanessa Curry.
May it please the court, I move that Vanessa Curry be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Vanessa Curry be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Lockhim Alexander Kwan.
May it please the court, I move that Lockhim Alexander Kwan be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Lockhim Alexander Kwan be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Van Bao Lam.
May it please the court, I move that Van Bao Lam be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Van Bao Lam be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Ruby Langton Batty.
May it please the court, I move that Ruby Langton
Let Ruby Langton Batty be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Mingzhu Li,
May it please the court, I move that Mingzhu Li be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Mingzhu Li be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Lee McDonald,
May it please the court, I move that Lee McDonald be moved as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Lee McDonald be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Georgia Rose McLennan,
May it please the court, I move that Georgia Rose McLennan be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Georgia Rose McLennan be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Brooke Simone O'Callaghan,
May it please the court, I move that Brooke Simone O'Callaghan be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Brooke Simone O'Callaghan be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Dallas Joy Christine Odegaard,
May it please the court, I move that Dallas Joy Christine Odegaard be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Dallas Joy Christine Odegaard be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Juan Roldan,
May it please the court, I move that Juan Roldan be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Juan Roldan be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Carlota Sanchez Jimenez,
May it please the court, I move that Carlota Sanchez Jimenez be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Carlota Sanchez Jimenez be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Elisha Grace Smith,
May it please the court, I move that Elisha Grace Smith be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Elisha Grace Smith be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Nicholas Anthony Allen Smith,
May it please the court, I move that Nicholas Anthony Allen Smith be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Nicholas Anthony Allen Smith be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Alicia Sahale,
May it please the court, I move that Alicia Sohail be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Alicia Sahale be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Ho Ying Tan,
May it please the court, I move that Ho Ying Tan be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Ho Ying Tam be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Jiwei Tao,
May it please the court, I move that Jia Wei Tao be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Jia Wei Tao be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Katrina Ann Tasker,
May it please the court, I move that Katrina Ann Tasker be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Katrina Antaska be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Andrew Tai,
May it please the court, I move that Andrew Tye be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Andrew Tai be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Michael Sebastian Toth,
May it please the court, I move that Michael Sebastian Toth be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Michael Sebastian Toth be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Marcella Triantafilo,
May it please the court, I move that Marcella Triantafilo be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Marcella Triantafilo be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Francesca Wallace,
May it please the court, I move that Francesca Wallace be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Francesca Wallace be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Christine Zheng Yi Wei,
May it please the court, I move that Christine Zhang Yi Wei be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Christine Zheng Yi Wei be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Imogen Sarah White,
May it please the court, I move that Imogen Sarah White be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Imogen Sarah White be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Rosie Williams,
May it please the court, I move that Rosie Williams be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Rosie Williams be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Jia Hao Shi,
May it please the court, I move that Jai Hao Sha be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Jai Hao Shi be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Gyu Hyung Yi,
May it please the court, I move that Gyu Hyung Yi be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Ji Huang Yi be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Tony Junran Zhen,
May it please the court, I move that Tony Jun Ran Zhen be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Tony Junran Zhen be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Kaldi Zreka,
May it please the court, I move that Kaldi Zreka be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Kaldi Zreka be admitted as a lawyer of this court. Now be necessary for those applicants whose admissions have been moved to stand up as directed by the officiating officer to take the oath or admission as directed.
Would the first two rows to my right please stand? Kura Tul Ann Akhtar, Isabel Mary Joan Alder, Lauren Marie Ang Sing, Lachlan Robert Blake, Jacob Edward Stig Karlberg, Xiaoman Chen, Yama Chosom, Fiona Gillian Chewy, Samantha Marcia Cobcroft, Avinash Devanathan, Amelia Discaris, Aisha Farouk, Jin Wen Feng, Meredith Erica Jane Fitzgerald, Olivia Forsyth Sells, do you severally swear or declare and affirm that you will truly and honestly conduct yourselves in the practice of a lawyer of the Supreme Court of New South Wales, and that you will faithfully serve as such in the administration of the laws and usages of this state according to the best of your knowledge, skill, and ability? Would you please say, "So help me God," or "I do"?
So help me God.
Would you please be seated? Could rows 3 and 4 please stand? Holly Rose Grant, Gaia Kaklik, Vanessa Curry, Lochim Alexander Kwan, Van Bao Lam, Ruby Langton Batty, Mingzu Lee, Lee McDonald, Georgia Rose McLennan, Brooke Simone O'Callaghan, Dallas Joy Christine Odegaard, Juan Roldan, Carlota Sanchez Jimenez, Elisha Grace Smith, Nicholas Anthony Allen Smith, Alicia Sahale, Ho Ying Tam, Jiwei Tao, Katrina Ann Tasker. Do you severally swear or declare and affirm that you will truly and honestly conduct yourselves in the practice of a lawyer of the Supreme Court of New South Wales, and that you will faithfully serve as such in the administration of the laws and usages of this state according to the best of your knowledge, skill, and ability? Would you please say, "So help me God," or "I do"? Would you please be seated? Could the two rows to my left please stand? Andrew Ty, Michael Sebastian Toth, Marcella Triantafilo, Francesca Wallace, Christine Zheng Yi Wei, Imogen Sarah White, Rosie Williams, Jai Hao Shi, Gyu Hong Yi, Tony Junran Zhen, Kaldi Zraker. Do you severally swear or declare and affirm that you will truly and honestly conduct yourselves in the practice of a lawyer of the Supreme Court of New South Wales, and that you will faithfully serve as such in the administration of the laws and usages of this state according to the best of your knowledge, skill, and ability? Would you please say, "So help me God," or "I do"?
I do.
Would you please be seated?
Well, may I warmly welcome you all to the Supreme Court of New South Wales. Present with me on the bench today is Justice Wright, appropriately to my right, and Justice Irace to my left, both of whom are judges of the Common Law Division of the Court. Together, we constitute the court that has, in the exercise of its jurisdiction, admitted you, the newly admitted legal practitioners, to practice. We've done so sitting on the land for which the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation have cared and been custodians for thousands of years. The court pays its respects to the Gadigal elders, past, present and emerging, and extends those respects to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. In the spirit of the Uluru Statement from the Heart, an eloquent, accurate and powerful statement which looks forward to a fuller expression of Australia's nationhood with great dignity, we acknowledge the regrettable reality that this nation's laws and legal systems have so often in the past delivered the opposite of justice to First Nations people. To all the new lawyers here today, welcome to the legal profession. This morning is for you all one of great celebration, and you are all to be congratulated. You've all worked extremely hard to get here, countless late nights of study, obscure problem questions, wafer-thin pages of textbooks, or hours and hours of staring at screens, reading, and more cases than you can hope to remember. And for most of you, we fully appreciate that your journey has involved two extraordinarily challenging final years affected by the pandemic, and in which you have unfortunately been deprived of many of the opportunities for forging the close bonds with your peers that those final couple of years usually present. You have faced and come through an additional adversity unprecedented in our lifetimes, and that makes your achievement all the more impressive, and the resilience you have developed in these difficult years will, I hope, stand you well into the future. It's in a spirit of optimism that I express my sincere hope that you enter the profession at a time when our society is exiting the dreadful impact of the pandemic, but we must remain vigilant. Now, in being admitted as a lawyer of this court, you join a profession with, as you know, ancient origins. The custom of advocates swearing an oath on admission to practice dates right back to the 12th century, and this court first admitted lawyers to practice in 1824. By 1830, the names of lawyers were entered onto the rolls in this state, as you will do effectively immediately after this ceremony. You have thus now become part of a great tradition almost 200 years after that tradition commenced in this place. Perhaps for some of you and your family and friends, that may be how long it feels like you've been studying. In any event, and on that note, I'm also pleased to welcome those with you here today or watching on the live stream. For many of you, the support of your family and friends will have been invaluable, and no doubt they've often been on the receiving end of your finely polished skills of argument and persuasion. I encourage you to take the time to thank them, and depending on how good an advocate you are, you might even convince them to shout you lunch or dinner to celebrate your achievements. The law touches every part of our society, and it can and will lead you all in many different directions and career paths. But in whatever direction you head, you must always remember that the oath or affirmation you have just made is a serious one and commands solemn regard. Whether you work in private practice, at the bar, in a community legal centre, a Crown Law Office, a government department or agency, or in an entirely different field, you should be known for your honesty, your integrity, and your commitment to justice, and must strive at all times to uphold these cardinal values. Admission as a member of the legal profession is a privilege, it's not a right. And it's in acknowledgement of this weighty responsibility that we observe today's unique formalities, including the fact that your admission has been moved by somebody who is already a member of the profession, and that you have made a formal oath or affirmation in the presence of your family and peers. They are all witnesses to the promises and undertakings you have made today. As to formality, you will see from the portraits on the walls of this court that we are wearing the same robes, in some cases literally, I think, as have been worn by our predecessors. Symbolically, that highlights the continuity of the rule of law in New South Wales. In a world in which there is much global uncertainty and insecurity, the rule of law is more important than ever, and not simply a phrase of some theoretical import. It is the opposite of the arbitrary abuse of power and the rule of autocratic dictators and populists. There is nothing theoretical about that. Although we mark this morning's occasion with formality and tradition, not everything in the legal profession remains unchanged or unchanging. COVID-19 has meant a rapid shift to increased use of virtual courtroom setups and technology or live streaming of hearings and occasions such as this to ensure access to justice not only continued in the midst of the pandemic but moving forward has a greater outreach by embracing the technological advancement. Challenges, of course, have arisen in terms of open justice, effective communication, and ensuring fairness to participants in that brave new world. But for all the challenges we faced, new opportunities presented themselves, including greater workplace flexibility, which is especially important for lawyers with family responsibilities. Better use of technology has also had profound implications for how our legal system interacts with and may become more accessible to many people, including those in rural, remote areas, those with disabilities, medical conditions, or carers' responsibilities. Although the increased use of technology to which I've referred offers a number of advantages, it is important to remember that the practice of the law has human nature and human interaction at its core. An essential part of being a good lawyer is understanding people, how others react to different situations, perform under pressure, and deal with each other. And as I said at my recent swearing-in speech as Chief Justice, while the remote practice of the law may be possible, it is far from desirable. There are, of course, other changes in the legal profession that deserve attention in addition to those brought about by the pandemic. When we think of the diversity of the legal profession, we encounter a duality that on the one hand we have come very far, but on the other hand that much still needs to be done. For example, although women were originally not permitted to practice in this state, since 2018 women have made up more than half of all solicitors with a practicing certificate in New South Wales and currently make up almost 2/3 of solicitors under the age of 30. Women also occupy many of the most senior positions in the law, including, of course, Chief Justice of Australia, Chief Justice Kiefel, the Commonwealth Attorney General, and the President of the Court of Appeal of this state, Justice Ward, who was formerly the Chief Judge in Equity. And her predecessor, but one, was Her Excellency the Honourable Margaret Beazley, ACQC, now Governor of our state. There should not only be greater diversity in terms of gender, but also strong representation of lawyers from many different backgrounds which comprise our cosmopolitan society. Diverse representation amongst solicitors, advocates and judges assists in ensuring that all people who become involved in our justice system can, and feel that they can, be properly heard and fairly engaged with by a system reflective of our broader community. The admissions ceremonies on which I have sat since becoming a judge 3 years ago, including this ceremony, highlights, I think, that there is a far greater diversity of background amongst junior lawyers than when I commenced practice, and that is a very good thing. You, the newly admitted lawyers, are in a unique position as you enter the profession at a time when, perhaps more than ever, your words and actions are having an impact for good. You are being heard and taken seriously when you agitate to correct injustices, whether it be speaking about unfair laws, systemic failings affecting society's most vulnerable, or unsustainable working cultures. You should speak up for the things that matter and which you believe. That is part of being a committed lawyer. You are the future of the profession and will steer it in the direction it will take. I would also urge you to engage with your communities outside the law. Your training as a lawyer in systematic thought in the importance of matters of principle and fundamental fairness, including due process and natural justice, equip you very well indeed for service beyond day-to-day practice. You will also derive great satisfaction from such engagement outside your day jobs. Now, turning from opportunities to obligations and a little bit of friendly advice. As a lawyer, you will often need to make difficult ethical decisions. You must use the tools you have developed to think critically and not compromise on your fundamental duties to the court and to the administration of justice. One mistake you must not make is to give your clients the advice you think they want to hear. That will not be good advice, I can guarantee you of that. Justice Gageler, before he was a High Court judge, once said, and I quote, "You must be prepared to give the same answer to the same questions for the same reasons, no matter who asks the question or for what purpose or in what context the asking may occur." That is very good advice, as you may well expect from Justice Gageler. Being a lawyer means that you become an advisor, a problem solver, a mediator in some cases, and an advocate. As you go about your day-to-day work, remember that you are not merely dealing with the law in a vacuum, but the law as it applies to people's lives. An individual in need of your services as a lawyer will, in many cases, probably most, be an individual facing some kind of great personal challenge affecting his or her liberty, property, personal well-being, or health or financial position. For these reasons, you must always strive to deliver legal services sensitively, competently, and fearlessly, but also always with courtesy and integrity. In that context, I wish to emphasise the importance of civility. Aspects of the law, especially if you are involved in litigation in the courts, are confrontational. The practice of the law can be stressful and demanding enough without personal animus and antagonism between practitioners adding to the load. It is essential that as a professional you maintain your professional detachment, balance, and good humour, remembering at all times, as I say, that you are members of a profession and not engaged in a business. That's a very important distinction. And remember this, the best advocates can and do make their point simply and succinctly. Often, less is more. Some of the most experienced lawyers and judges, I include myself in this, could also use that reminder from time to time. For a non-lawyer, law is often incomprehensible, and indeed, even for some lawyers, that is the case. One of your roles as a lawyer will be to make the law accessible to others, sometimes by deciphering legal complexities, other times by dealing with poor legal drafting, and sometimes both. Strive to be clear and concise at all times in both your writing and your speaking. I also want to briefly touch on perhaps an unusual subject for a ceremony such as this, and that's the topic of failure. There will inevitably be quite a few overachievers and perfectionists in the room today. I think the law tends to attract those people. Even so, at various points of your career, however diligent and committed, you will make mistakes, some minor, some more serious. We all make and have made mistakes from time to time, especially when starting something new. What is important is you try not to make the same mistake twice. And when you do make mistakes, your commitment to honesty, integrity, and the administration of justice means that you must take responsibility, correct what you can, and learn from those errors. Finally, your physical and mental health are both extremely important. There may, and I dare say will be, times when you feel overwhelmed, burnt out, or distressed. Legal practice can be all-consuming and physically and mentally taxing. You must work hard to keep your balance and keep your eye out to ensure that your colleagues do as well. If you do get overwhelmed by it all, as frankly we all have from time to time, Try and take a step back, recapture some perspective, or suggest gently to your colleagues that they do so. In this context, also remember that the law is a highly collegiate profession, and in times of difficulty, the support and friendship of your peers will prove invaluable. You should also not be afraid to seek professional help if needed. Become involved in the Law Society or the Bar Association. Both are fully attuned to the potential stresses of practice and offer great structures for including you in the broader practice of the law, not only as a source of support, but as a source of community engagement. Can I say this to you all in closing? The law is a wonderful profession, stimulating, challenging, and satisfying, and it is populated by intelligent, committed, and dynamic people. You should be and remain proud to be a lawyer and of your achievements to date. You should remain proud to be a lawyer. It is a very important profession, and a legal career is one that can take you in many different directions, all of which are interesting and rewarding. Hold your heads high and the very best of luck on the exciting journey that lies ahead. And so, on behalf of the judges of the Supreme Court, I once again congratulate you on your admission and welcome you to the legal profession. The court will now adjourn.
All stand. This honourable court is now adjourned. God save the Queen.